Hey there, we're live. Thank you for joining me to color. Today we're going to be working on this super cute Sassy Cheryl Stamps image called Avery's Summer Afternoon. Isn't she cute? I will put a link down in the description box to the image if you'd like to head over and grab her. And Cheryl has kindly given us a coupon code that's also down in the description box if you'd like to use that. The image comes with 3 girls, so pretty good deal. You get 3 girls for $1 each if you use the coupon code, and you can try those out on different cards. So I'm going to let everybody get a chance to get here, and we're going to have a quick commercial. So this week's card kit was the Love Story Squidgies by Stampin' Bella. Perfect for all those summer weddings you know that are going to be coming up. So head over to the store and grab that and make it up for some of your friends. And then in the store this week, I'm also having a sale on ink pads. So put sale 20 into the coupon bar at the store. You can throw in whatever ink pad you want and get 20% off. So I've got a bunch of these Hero Arts ink pads, some of these Alt New mini ink pads, some watercolor ink pads by Prima. Quite a few of these Hero Arts mini ink pads. These are really cool because you get a whole set and you can stamp tons of flowers with those. I also have the new Ranger Distress Oxide ink pads and the re-inkers in the store if you're interested in those, and remember they're on sale. And then of course you have all the Memento different colors that you can use and some of the Ranger archival inks that you can get along with a bunch of others. But if it's an ink pad, it's on sale for 20% off, so you can grab those over at the store. Let me put all this stuff over here. And just ink to your heart's content. So I have my girl here. She is printed out on Nina 80-pound Solar White cardstock with my Canon printer. And I'll put a link to a comparable printer down in the description box because mine is pretty old and it's no longer available. But Canon makes great ink pads, and I always print mine out, my image out, and then I color right away. I never have to wait or dry it or worry about it. I just print and go. So I love that about that. Hi Teresa, thanks for joining me. So let's see here. We're going to start out by giving our girl a background. And for that, we're going to use BG 000, quadruple 0, and the colorless blender. So we're going to use these. Now I'm not going to do anything fancy. I'm just going to take my BG 000 first. Let me get my card back out so I can actually see what I did to it. And then we're going to, I like to lay my pen kind of at an angle, more downward, so it's flatter, takes up more space. And I'm just going to flick away from her. And I like to do this first, so it gives her a little bit of dimension, and I don't have to worry about if I get some on her. I can just erase it. Or if I touch another color I've already colored, I don't have to worry about pulling it out into my background, which I would totally do. So I do it first so I just don't have to worry about all that. But I like to give them a little bit of color. And I'm not worried about this hair because we're going to color that all in. So I just brush right over the top of that. But if you do this first, it gives her a little bit of something so it doesn't look like she's quite so flat. And we'll go around this little bug. But she's really cute. This little Avery. And if you girls have an image you would like to do, I didn't get to doing next week's video because I had something happening yesterday that I was taking care of and I just didn't get around to coloring. But if you have something you would like to color, if you put it down in the description box, I will color something up and post it on the store blog in the next day or so, and then we can color that next week. So this one is going to be BG quadruple 0. And for that, I just lay it down on top of my last color and I pull it out as far as I want to go. Usually it's just as far as my hand will pull it without me having to pick my hand back up. I was thinking about doing some Whimsy Stamps has some really cute little penguin guys that are in their digital section. I noticed the other day. I was thinking maybe of doing one of those next week. There's some that are like floating in the pond, or one's got a hat, a watermelon. That's it. I was trying to think of what it was. Then we're going to do colorless blender, but they're really cute. And for this, I just put touch down on top of my girl and then pull past both colors. And this helps me get rid of all those lines in between the colors and the streaks from laying down the pin marks. And it helps blend the two colors together and soften the edge of the very last color. It just gives her a little something there. And this one I printed pretty big, so there's not going to be any room for clouds up there. So if you were interested in that video, I did that a couple of weeks ago for a live stream, and I will put a link to that at the top of the screen after the video posts on my YouTube channel. So next we are going to do her skin. So for that, we're going to use E53, 51, and 50. And then for her cheeks, I'm going to use R11. Trying a new skin tone today. Got to branch out sometimes. So I'm going to start with E53. And I'm going to go down here and do her legs. We're going to go underneath of her skirt, and then I'm going to go around the back of her leg. Same for this one. And then I'm going to do the front of her leg, because this one's kind of leaning into that one. And then for her little arms, since there's not too much up here, let's do that too. And then we're going to add E51. And for her legs and her arms, I'm just going to go ahead and fill them in because they're pretty skinny. And then because E50 is so yellow, I'm going to go ahead and just go over the top of those two colors together. So it adds a little bit of this yellow on there so it matches her face. Then we'll hop up here and do her face. So again, you're going to start with E53. I'm going to do her neck on this side first because her head's tipped down on this way. And then for her face up here, let's go right along her hairline. And then I'm going to come down to her neck. And then for inside of her ear, I'm going to brush away from that neck just a little bit. And then over here on this ear, we're going to do that in the inside. And then we'll do a little bit of this over here, like that. Then I'm going to add E51. I'm going to do the bottom of her ear. I'm going to leave the top for the lightest color up here where it's got that little line. Cover in her neck. And then I also want to bring this color around her hair. We connect it up here. And then we're going to flick away from that E53. And I don't worry if it's not blended because I'm going to do her cheeks and then I usually go do a second coat of skin tone. And then I'm going to fill it in with E50. And I'll probably leave just a little bit of white in the center. And then when I come back, I'll add some more. Okay, for our cheeks, we're going to do R11. And I'm going to give her little circly cheeks today. I know last week we had a discussion about how I decide what to do for her cheeks. And for her, I'm going to do circles because I think if you pulled it from clear over here like I usually do and flick it into like this, that would be just too much. It would just look funny. So we're going to do the circles today. And I'll probably add a second coat of that after I do our skins again. So then we're going to do E53. And this time, instead of just doing a line, I'm going to flick away from that line just a little bit. Then we're going to do E51. I'm touching down on top of my E53 and flicking away from that. And make sure to get up here next to her hair. Then I'm going to add some more R11 before I do my E50, just to pink those up a little bit more. And then I'm going to go over her entire face with my E50. And then for her eyes, I'm not going to get right next to the black section. I want to leave a little bit of white around the outside. But if you go too close, you can always use your colorless blender to push that away just a little bit. So she's got a little bit of a white on there. I'm kind of going up to this little line that's on the side of her face. And then going around and then filling in this section for her nose. And then coming up over the top so there's a little bit of white. On this side, I got a little too close. I'm going to take my colorless blender and I'm just going to go around this little black pupil and give it a little white spot. Let's go ahead and do this side too. They're the same. But that'll make her have a little bit of an eye there, so she doesn't look so weird. Then hair. We're going to do some of my favorite ones, E47, 44, and 43. I really like brown hair, evidently, because I do a lot of brown hair. So I'm going to start with E47. And let's do these little pigtails first. This little pigtail over here. And I'm just trying to keep my pen kind of to do just little liney streaks. I don't want it to be too thick. And then we're going to add some down here. So let's do away from her ear. And then we're going to give her a part right here. And then we're going to come away from that. Let's go. And I try to go in the direction, like this section kind of curves down. So you wouldn't want to go like this. You'd want to go in the direction the hair's going, so it doesn't look completely off. And then we're going to go undo this side. The same thing, we want to add some streaks, but her hair's kind of curved, so let's go in that direction. Then we're going to add E44. Oops, this one got a little crazy. Luckily, we're going to give that a second coat so it won't look so silly. And we're just going to go Then we're going to do E43. Give some more streaks in there. And I tend to color mine in, but you could leave some white in there if you like that. I never get mine to look good, so at least for me, I think it looks terrible. Occasionally I get it to look all right. Practice, practice, practice. See, like this side, I left some white in there. I hate that. Cover that up. And then I'm going to go in with my E47 and do some more of these darker streaks. Let me turn my girl here a little bit. See if we can make these look a little bit better. Then we will add another coat of our E44. She looks pretty good. I'm liking that hair. She looks nice. All right, so now we are going to move down to her dress and her shoes and her hair bows. So for that, let's see, E57, V15, V17, V15, V12, V01, and then for the stripes on her dress, we're going to use Y19 and 08. So let's see if I can hold these all underneath there so you can see them. Use those. Okay, so let's start up here on her hair bows with E57. And we're going to end up going over, I know it's brown, crazy, right? But we're going to go over this with our V's, so it won't matter once we get it colored. So I'm going to do a little bit of that down on the bottom of each of these little hair ties. And then the bottom part of these little bow parts. Same for over here. Let's do the bottom. And then this little skinny section of the bow. Then we're going to do V17. And you're going to color right over the top of that E57 and go past it just a little bit. And up here, I'm going to go on the other side of this bow knot, a little hole in the middle. And then we're going to fill it in with V15. So even though I like to go clear down to the bottom and go through all the colors with my last color, kind of softens them up a little bit and blends them all together for me. And there, you can't even see that brown. Okay, so let's go down here and we'll work on the top of her dress. So again, we're going to start with our V57, or sorry, E57. And we're going to do, I'm going to do this inside of her dress that's showing right here. And then I'm going to go away from her sleeve, or from her bodice, onto her sleeve. Same for this side. I'm going to try not to color those dots because I'm going to leave those white. And then for her dress bodice, let's go in like this. And then V17. And again, you want to go right over the top of your E57 and pull out a little bit. You want to go past it. Oops, I colored right over that dot. That was no good. I'll have to fix that later. And then we'll go over all of that with our V15. I'm going to fill it in over here on the outside. See if I can do that without coloring in more dots. And let me see here. Let me get my colorless blender out. We'll see if we can fix that dot right here. Here we go. All fixed. Okay, so now we're going to head down here and we are going to do her skirt. So I'm not going to do the E57. I'm going to start with V17. And I'm not going to put too much of that on. I just want to do over here where there's a little crease. And right here, there's a little crease. And that's all for that one. Then I'm going to put V15. And same thing, I just want to soften this edge. Then we're going to go with V12. And for this, I'm going to pull away from the inside of her skirt. I'm going to give this 2 coats, so I'm not worried that it looks terrible. And then we'll add V01. And for my V01, I'm going to add that to this bottom of her skirt. And it's pretty skinny, so I'm going to be really careful. Try not to color her leg. Then I'm going to come back with my second coat. So we're going to do V17. V15. And for this, I'm going to add that up here on the top this time. V12. And then I'm going to use this to add just a little bit down here in some of these little pleats. I'm just going to a little bit down here in some of these little dips on her skirt. Then we're going to go with V01. Fill in the center section. And then I'm going to take it and swipe all the way across her skirt. Pretty. And then for her skirt up here, for the little ribbons, we're going to do Y19 first. And I picked just alternate stripes here on her little ruffle, or on her ribbon around the center, and filled those in. So I'm picking the smaller ones. And then down here, I'm again going to do a little bit where the skirt kind of dips down. And then I'm going to fill in the rest with Y08. Pretty easy. So do we have any questions so far about anything? How'd you like the brown on the skirt if you're coloring along with me? Did you like that when you colored the brown and the ponytail wrappers to give it a little bit more shadow? And let's hop down here and we will do her shoes next. So again, we're going to start with our E57. Hopefully some of you girls will head over and grab one of Cheryl's, this cute little image, because she's really cute. And like I said, she comes with 3 different girls in the package. So there's this one, and then there's another one where she's holding a flower. And I think the other one has, I think she's holding a flower, I want to say a flower pot. I can't remember because I printed this out a week ago and I can't remember what it had with it, but I think it has a flower pot. They're all super cute. Oh, I better do this as part of her shoe over here too. And then we're going to go with V17. And then V15. Hopefully for a bunch of you that the sun is going to start shining and we're going to have some summertime. We have sun here today. Well, no, we have rain today, but we did have sun earlier this week, but it never got like super warm. It was still cold. But the girls, they decided since we put the pool up that they should get in there and play in their pool. And every time they got in, I'm like, it's like Arctic freezing wind outside. Like they didn't stay in there very long. But they'd stayed long enough to play. And they of course, they'd want to get right back in there after they warmed up in the shower. Like, girls, it's not getting any warmer. We want to go swimming. Okay. So I guess if they catch a cold later this week, we'll know why, because Grammy let them go in the pool when it was 62 outside. Okay, then we're going to go with V01 for the little straps right here. Nothing fancy. And then we're going to take W1 and we are going to do the soles. And I didn't go all the way, but I'm just going to give them a little dab of color. And then I also use this up here on her sock. So let's go. And let's go from the inside of our sock this way. Well, nothing too fancy for that. So let's see here. How about this little flower up here? Oh, what did I bring for that? So we're going to do BO2 and B00. And I'm going to do BO2 first. And I'm just going to flick away from the center of this flower. Nothing fancy. And then we'll go over that with our B00. Oh, turn it right side up, in case you're reading that. And then I'm going to go ahead and give it a second coat of my BO2, just a little bit. Okay, let's do the ladybugs. Hi, Linda. Thanks for joining us. Glad you could come along. If you don't have the little Avery girl, I put a link down in the description box to go grab her. And Cheryl gave us a coupon for $1 off, and it comes with 3 images, so $1 each. That's a really good deal if you want to go grab one and color along. Then we've got, for the ladybugs, I'm not going to do anything spectacular. I'm going to do R29. But there is a coupon down in the description. I put it at the top of the description box if you girls are interested in grabbing this image. And Cheryl will have it up there for a few days so that you could use it in case you didn't have time to get the image before the coloring. I'm also having a sale on inks, so if you want to go to the store and grab some ink pads, you can do that with sale 20 and get 20% off until Saturday, the June 10th. And then we'll have a new coupon after that. Okay, so now we're going to do grass. So those ladybugs were pretty technical, huh? We just colored those right in. So, before I forget, if anybody has an idea of what they would like to do next week, I know I said this at the front of the video, but if anybody has an idea of what they would like to color next week, if you leave it down in the comment section, or you can email me at HeathersHobbieHaven@hotmail.com and just send me a link to the image you'd like to color. I will work on it in the next day or so and get that on the store blog so that you can go pick up an image and color next week. I just haven't got to it yet this week, but I've been trying to make sure I get it up a few days ahead of time on the store blog so that you can go pick it up and color too, in case you want to color along with me. And you can always too, after it posts, you can always go back and color it at your own pace. You can pause it, and a lot of my friends do that all the time. They're like, Heather, you're talking too fast, and they'll go along and they'll watch it for a few minutes, and then they'll pause it till the next section, and then they'll restart it and continue on. And I know a lot of the videos are longer, so you can watch them for a little bit, however long you got, and then stop it and remember you're at, whatever section you're at, and then come back and watch it later. I just really like doing the videos so that they're in real time. You can actually see the coloring part. For me, I'm a visual learner, so it's easier for me to see exactly what someone else is doing at the speed that's supposed to be, not 2 or 3 times sped up, because I can't learn anything like that. It's just too hard for me. So we're going to do the grass next. So for that, we're going to use G28, 94, and 43. And we are going to start with G28. Do you girls have any questions about the image so far, or just a question in general? For this, we're going to go, I'm going to try not to color her shoe, But we're going to go right along this line. And pull away from her shoe. And then over here, even though it stops right here because I didn't make it go all the way out, I'm going to go all the way to the edge. Because I'm going to color in this whole bottom section with green. Then we're going to do G94. And I'm going to color this little dandelion, the end of the little puff there. And then we're going to color along this. Let me grab my piece of paper here. Let me put this under here because I don't want to accidentally color on my craft mat that I have here to make it a boring gray background so everybody can see the picture instead of my crusty mat I have underneath that. And then we're going to add G43. And we're going to fill this in down here. And I cut her out with my favorite thing, Stitch Rectangles die, in case you girls love that. Okay, and then I like to go back with the second coat, so I'm going to go with G28 again. How do you like those twin touch markers, Linda? I have those. I just never I couldn't get anybody to love them, so I kind of just let them go, but I do have them. And it works best too if you have different markers. Even if you have the Copics, I have Sandy Allnock's hex chart that I use, and I also use just the regular Copic chart. So whatever markers you have, if you get whatever, most companies have a blank color chart available that you can color in with the markers that you have. But it helps me to see what color, we're going to use G94 next, what color they actually look like. And I try to keep them so that they're, Copics has their color chart, so all the colors are in a row, so they, they go together. But that really helps me. And I usually, when I do my coloring, I pick my paper first so that I color it something to match the paper. So G43 next. Otherwise, I would completely color it some ridiculous color that doesn't match any paper I have ever. So for me, picking the paper first works best. Then we're going to do some grass blades because I thought this wasn't enough grass. So with our G43, I'm just going to make some little flicks in here. And then let's do over here. Somebody didn't mow the grass at her place. And then I'm going to add G94. I haven't heard of the Artist Loft markers, Teresa. I haven't been to Michael's in a while. Our nearest Michael's is an hour from us, so I haven't been over there lately. I know there's a bunch of different markers, but like I said, if you make a color chart, even if they don't have one available on their site, a lot of places do, make one of your own, even if it's just taking the colors, whatever paper you're going to color on, make sure to use that to put the color on. But doing a swatch of the color onto there, a swipe of it, and then the color next to it, the number, so that you know. That way you can see the colors on the paper and kind of pick from there. So even if you didn't say, I know I colored her dress the purple color, but let's say you just didn't have that. Maybe you have the blues and whatever color marker you're using. You could do that, but pick a dark, a medium, and a light one, and then color it with those. And if you wanted to do, like on the dress, I did the E57 to add the shadows. You could use some kind of gray underneath there. So if you had a gray marker, let's say C5, that's just a Copic one, you could put that underneath of it in place of the brown and make it a little bit more shadowed in there. That works out good too. Or let's say you didn't have, let's say you have like these three in whatever colors you have for your own markers. You have V17, 15, and 12 is what I used on the dress. But let's say you only had these two. You could take this light one and pick up some of this dark one. Oops. A little bit around the other way. That doesn't work very good. But you could take this light one and you could take it on this dark one, and you could do, so let me get my little piece of paper here. So we've got V17. But we don't have anything to go in between there. So you take your V12 or your lightest and your darkest of whatever markers you've got, and you put that in there. And then you bring it out, and now you have those three colors. And I never worry about contaminating my marker on this other marker. I never worry about that. If you're worried about that, you could always take and scrub the darkest color onto a piece of acetate or an acrylic block and then pick it up off of there. I just never worry about it. It just rubs off for me. So that's an easy way to do it. Or let's say you didn't have, let's say you only have this light one. You only have V12. And so you put that down, you let it dry, and then you come back and you add a little bit more, but you don't go clear to the end. And then you let that dry. And then you come back and you add a little bit more here at the edge. You've got even darker out here. So you've got one layer here, two layers here, and three layers here. So even though it's not as dark as this one over here, it's still darker in three sections, if that makes sense. And then if you wanted to blend it even more, you could take, after this third section is dried, you could go over the whole thing. And this is just plain paper, so don't, I'm winging it. So kind of, if you had your color paper, it would look a lot better than this splotchy piece of paper that I just had sitting here on my desk. But same for the skin tones. If you don't have a bunch of markers, you can just layer, like I did the E53 out here on her face. You could do whatever light color you have, you know, all the way across, and then do 3/4 of her face, and then do a half of her face, and then do a fourth of her face to get that dark color in there, if that makes sense. You have 80, Teresa. That's awesome. I don't think, what do we have today? We have 57 today. So we're not living it up over here in Oregon. But the pool water, like I said, when those kids get in that pool, it's got to be, I stick my hand in there and it's like, you've won cold water in the sink. It must be 30 in there. I'm like, you're going to get in? You're crazy. They're going to be like those polar bear people that swim in Alaska. So let's go ahead and we'll put our card together. I cut everything out. And I didn't do anything fancy. Like I said, she is cut out with the My Favorite Things. And then let's see if I can zoom up just a little bit. Oops, wrong way. She is cut out with the My Favorite Things stitch rectangle die. And then I cut out these little circles with the My Favorite Things stitch circle die. And I used this, you're never going to find this unless somebody's got it in their stash, but I've got like a ton of these little 6x6 paper pads I never use for card kits because there's just not enough paper in there. But it's basic gray wisteria paper, and I've had this thing forever, but because I wanted to color her dress purple, I found it just for this little purple piece right here. So that's what I'm going to use, and it's almost gone. I'm kind of sad because I really like it, but it's okay. You got to use that stuff up. Do not just leave it in your closet. So we got all these pieces. I tried to keep it pretty, you know, pretty easy. So I'm just going to put some glue on the, whoops, got to open it first. Some glue here on the back. And then I always make sure my card's going to open the direction I want because silly me, I've put things on there upside down before. I know, Nobody's ever done that. I'm pretty sure of it. It's only me. Whoops. That's okay. I guess so. We're just going to go with that because it's stuck there now. And then we'll put her on there. So if you girls have something you want to color next week, leave it down in the comment section or email me at HeathersHobbieHaven.com or at hotmail.com. And then, or if you have an idea of something you'd like to try, you know, it doesn't have to be we're going to color something. It can be I do watercoloring. I have colored pencils. We could do that. I'm not an expert at that, like Sassy Cheryl, but we could try it. Or if you want to just color somebody's hair, or you just want to color a shirt or whatever, you want to learn something, you know, leave it in the comments or email me and I will work on it this week and come up with something, or in a future week if it's something that's going to take me more than half a day to figure out. And we will add that to my list of things we want to do that you can ask questions while I'm sitting here. I probably should have stuck these down with some liquid glue, but I didn't do that. I just brought this tape runner in here. Obviously, I'll be fixing it maybe later. That didn't work out very good. But super easy. You could add a sentiment on there and send her to a friend in the mail. If you would like to receive this card in the mail, you can email me at HeathersHobbieHaven@hotmail.com. And if you are the first one to send me that email saying, yes, I would love to receive a mail from Heather, I will send this to you and you can get some happy mail. So I hope you guys all had fun coloring today and got some questions answered. And I hope you're having a great day, and we'll see you next Thursday at noon. Bye.